People of Reddit, what made you to think I'm never visiting again after being in someone's home? When I was 17, my boyfriend at the time invited me to backyard camp at his friend's house. I knew the friend, he was super chill, so I said yes. Got there, some awesome tents were set up in the yard, grill was going, there was a giant cooler of drinks. I brought snacks, everything was pretty awesome. His parents were so nice. His younger siblings came and played games with us. It was great. At one point I asked to go to the bathroom, so he showed me inside. It was so crawling with roaches. Everything looked like it was moving. In my 5 minutes inside, I had to swat them off me every 30 seconds. His parents and siblings were just sitting around like nothing was wrong. My skin crawled for the rest of the night. Needless to say, I never went back. A work friend invited me over to his house to watch a hockey game, so I said sure, why not? I bought a 6-pack of beers and he said sweet. He just put them in his fridge. He proceeded to pour himself scotch, but never asking me I wanted to have a drink. Then he pulled out some leftovers and made himself a dish, and again, he never asked me if I was hungry. Then I just asked for a beer that I had bought and he said I guess, but I was going to save them for another time. I left after the game and it's been really awkward at work. I had a friend in high school and every time I'd go over to his house to missionaries and a church leader would just randomly pop in to say hello and talk about Mormon stuff. The third or fourth time they did it and we started doing lessons. They mentioned the lessons were designed for new believers and I asked which one of them was a new believer and they all looked at me. I never went back. There was a friend of mine and his grandfather was such a pain in the ass, no privacy, popping out of nowhere staring like he wanna kill me or something. One day I was using washroom at this friend's place and the grandpa just went all in without knocking and stood there looking at me while I was taking a dump and said, "What are you doing?" After that day, I never went back to his place. He told me to just sort of push the pizza carton with a half-eaten pizza onto the floor to make space for me on the couch. There was trash everywhere and his advice was to just push it to the side with your foot to make a path. He was slovenly to a degree I'd never known had I not visited his apartment. Not a hoarder, mind you. Guy just didn't really clean at all. You know, this thread makes me feel a lot better about the state of my place. The way my wife's stepdad treats everyone. He used to be a big shot at his work. Now he's retired and still think he runs everything. He's rude and not welcoming at all. We had a big fallout with him a while back. It was inevitable to happen, especially when his rudeness started being directed towards our 2-year-old. I slept on my friend's couch and woke up with bug bites all over my body. Reeked of cat piss. Place looked fine, pretty clean, and they were nice people. But damn, they obviously became noseblind to their cat stench. I was 15 and walked into my friend's house with her, and there in the living room was a huge cage built along the whole wall with a monkey in it masturbating, like there was no tomorrow. I immediately noped out and never went back. It was my own fault. I broke a decorative porcelain baby Jesus they had in a Christmas display. I left right after and never went back. I've spent a night at my high school's friend house. And in the morning he asked me for $10 for the bills and the food we ate. Mind you, I brought snacks and drinks. I never said hello to him again. The worst is, he is everything but struggling. Wuvka, I went to check on a friend because I became concerned since he just kind of went poof from our friend group. I know he had a couple of cats. However, once I went inside, whoa boy, the place was an absolute disaster zone. Filthy, and the cats. I asked how many he had. He didn't know. Most were feral. All had fleas, and the weird feeling on my legs made me realize if I don't get out of here, I will have them too. It freaked me out. But I got in touch with his family and explained the situation. I went back about a week later. Long pants, more courage. It was better, but still a long way to go. I did the kitchen. If he agreed to completely declutter the living room and gather up all laundry including bedding, yikes. I did think I'm never coming back, but I couldn't in good conscience do that. His mom and brother came and started helping a few days later as well. Not sure what happened to all those cats though, boy howdy, that was a lot of feral cats. Decided to join an old college buddy for game night at his new place. I arrive and find out game night involves live action role playing with actual swords, not the foam ones I imagined, but authentic, sharpened steel. His living room transformed into an indoor arena, with furniture pushed to the walls. People wore full armor and male, clashing swords with an intensity that left dents in the hardwood floor and chips of paint flying from the walls. It was like living in a medieval war zone. My friend, completely engrossed, hands me a helmet and a blade and expects me to join the fray. Concern for my physical well-being and my lack of combat training made me politely decline. Instead, I spent the evening dodging wayward sword thrusts and airborne goblets. Left with a vow to myself, if the next invite doesn't include board games or controllers, I'm staying home. Never went back. Cat was on the counter chewing on the ham. It was then served to us, chew marks, hair and all. The server was adamant that it wasn't the cat even though several of us saw it and moved the cat away. Then we got lectured for not being appreciative of our hair and saliva-soaked food. One night I was visiting my in-laws for dinner. Their dog, who doesn't usually bark, let out a single quiet bark while looking towards the front door. Penned the coffee table drawer, grabbed the handgun that he apparently keeps in there, stepped into his front yard in a safe suburban neighborhood, and scanned the yard with his gun pointed outwards. All because his dog made a single bark. Let me emphasize just how little faith I have in my father-in-law's ability to correctly assess a threat. I seriously fear that if he ever pulled his trigger at someone, it would almost certainly be due to an imagined threat, not a real one. My wife and I were invited to a party by one of her co-workers. She had become good friends with her at work and they even went to the same gym classes before work. She had this beautiful house with her husband, who was a lawyer. We showed up and the driveway was full, but not a massive party. It was normal for the first hour or so after food was served. We were pulled aside into the study by her co-worker that informed us her and her husband are swingers and this is a swinger party. We were told we didn't have to feel pressured to participate, but we were more than welcome to watch or do our own thing. We immediately left, LOL. The co-worker just acts completely normal like before. She just doesn't invite my wife and I to any parties anymore. Bathroom so dirty I was disgusted to use. There was the filthiest toilet I had seen and it stank like there was a leak somewhere. The person I was visiting was so accustomed to the smell that they didn't even realize something was off until my mate and I told them something was wrong. Neighbors of mine would constantly ask for my help for small things like yard work, walking their dog, picking up some stuff from the grocery store, or taking out the trash. But the main thing they would constantly ask for help with was getting their wheelchair-bound grandmother out of the house on Sundays so they could go to church. So I have to carve out time on my Sundays so they can do this since church is super important to their family. The first and only Sunday I do this, I'm waiting in their living room for the bus service to pick them all up. We're all making small talk when one of them asks why I'm not in church myself at that moment. Like why they think I could be in church and helping them out at the same time. But also the judgment bothered me. From that point on I was busy on Sundays. Thanks for watching.